Shall we start with your permission, ma'am?
Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. The warm welcome to all the participants, and also it's the time to welcome the management of Rajapalayam Rajus College, Rajapalayam, the secretary, the president of Rajapalayam Rajus College, Rajapalayam, and the principal of Rajapalayam Rajus College, Rajapalayam, and the faculty members and my dear participants and my fellow students. It's the time that we have our resource person, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, ma'am, is the additional chief secretary of government of Karnataka. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Now I welcome our principal in charge, Dr. R. Jagannath, to give a presidential address.
Thank you, Ramji. The most respected Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, madam, additional chief secretary to government of Karnataka, respected vice principal N. Ramesh, Nature Club coordinator Mr. P.R. Ramji, and organizing members and participants, warm good morning to all. I feel very happy and our college feels proud to conduct this national level webinar on simple sustainability for you and me. On behalf of Rajapalayam Rajus College, I thank Dr. Kalpana madam for accepting to be the chief guest and resource person in this webinar. I hope this webinar will be very useful to our participants and our students. At this outset, I am requesting our Kalpana madam to visit our college during important occasion as a chief guest. I am asking her as a request. Really, madam, we feel so proud and our college feels so proud because of your acceptance in spite of your busy schedule. This webinar will be very useful to our students. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite our vice principal, Dr. N. Ramesh sir, to felicitate the function.
A cheerful good morning to our chief guest and our principal, Dr. Jagannath, and the organizers, Nature Club coordinator of Nature Club Ramji, and the Wildlife Association of Rajapalayam, and the respected professors from our college and from other colleges, and dear participants. Once again, my warm and cheerful good morning. I feel very proud to have with us the Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, Additional Chief Secretary, Government of Karnataka. I express my sincere gratitude and my thanks to our resource person in this auspicious occasion for being with us and for accepting our invitation. Ma'am, really, we are thankful to you since you are spending your valuable time and sharing your golden experience with our participants. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I congratulate Mr. Ramji, coordinator of Nature Club, for arranging many webinars by inviting very delightful resource person like our chief guest. I think this is the 48th webinar organized by Nature Club of Rajapalayam and Wildlife Association of Rajapalayam. I wish Ramji and WAR, Wildlife Association of Rajapalayam, to achieve 100th webinar in very near future. I wish everyone attending this webinar and make this a grand success. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I welcome Lada Vasudevan ma'am to introduce the chief guest.
I deem it a great privilege to welcome the honorable guest, Dr. Kalpana Gopalan, the Additional Chief Secretary, Labour and Public Grievance Redressal, Government of Karnataka, for today's webinar. Welcome you, ma'am. Madam is a composite public policy professional who wears many hats as a practitioner, policymaker, scholar, author, volunteer, and a mother. She secured the 19th rank in the All India Combined Civil Service Examination in 1987. Her 33-year work experience in the Indian Administrative Service spans land administration, energy, handicrafts, urban management, public distribution system, sports, rural development, youth, training, and education. Madam is the recipient of the Mother Teresa Women Empowerment Award for outstanding contribution to excellence in leadership, the International Human Rights Award under the Women of Courage category 2019, the Sexy Brilliant COVID Leadership Award, the social activist Pratibha Saman, the SAARC Nations Human Rights Association Award, the Inspiring Change Maker Giving Economy Award, the Bhavishya K. Shilpkar Award, Thought Leader Certification of Dr. GSK Social Labs 2020, and the Jennison Outstanding Pathway to Governance Leadership Award 2021. She was recognized as a great warrior of humanity by the International Human Rights Advisory Council for her humanitarian services and best practices on COVID-19 prevention 2020, and was appreciated by UNICEF and the Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences for COVID-19 response 2020. She is a LinkedIn Wonder Woman and Inspirational Leader 2020. She was felicitated and awarded citations and commendations by the National Social Scheme, Karnataka, Bangalore University, NITTE University, Enapoya University, Mysore University, IJASRW 2020, Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Sciences, Visvesvaraya Institute of Technology, We Lead Empowering Women's Growth, Gulbarga University, Jain University, Ramaya Institute of Technology, Acharya Institutions, Melkote Academy of Sanskrit, Sheshadripuram Trust, SJES Institutions 2019, Honorary Council, Republic of Maldives 2015, and Institution of Engineers of India 2013. She is awarded the NLM UNESCO 2000 Award for Karnataka with her work in literacy and the Karnataka Ratna Award 2013 for Kaveri Handicrafts. She is advisor, Bangalore City Corporation, honorary consultant, Administrative Training Institute, Mysore, member Advisory Committee, Public Sector Advisory, Grant Thornton LLP, and member Advisory Board, Government Blockchain Association, India. A hybrid leader with a unique mix of public service, business school, and academic credentials, Madam combines a unique mix of academic and practical experience and works collaboratively across the private, public, and not for profit sectors. She honed her research skills with a doctorate and master's in public policy from IIM Bangalore. She was rated among the 2% of doctoral candidates in the past decade for her research on infrastructure, public private partnerships. A gold medalist and a university topper in her undergraduate and master's, she was visiting fellow at McGill and Concordia universities in Canada, EU fellow in the University of Salerno in Italy, Chevening Gurukul Scholar in the Institute of Development Studies, UK, and Maxwell Public Policy Scholar in Syracuse University, USA. She trained in evidence for policy design in the Center for International Development, Harvard University, USA in 2014, e-governance strategy in the London School of Economics, UK 2017, and advanced women's leadership in the Harris School of Public Policy, University of Chicago 2019. She was twice selected as a SAY-SSP scholar by the University of the Free State, Bloemfontein, South Africa, and the International Institute for Applied Systems Analysis. She presents papers in national and international fora and has published 4 books and many journal articles. She is a sought-after speaker and has delivered over 450 talks on different aspects of public policy to national and global audiences. Madam pursues her academic interests as Senior Research Fellow in the National Institute of Urban Affairs, New Delhi, Visiting Faculty Fellow in the Institute of Social and Economic Change, Bangalore, Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, Acharya Bangalore Business School, and Kuvempu Rural University, Shimoga. She is the member advisory board AIMS School of Business, Bangalore, member academic council Mahatma Gandhi Kashi Vidyapith, Varanasi, and member MDP advisory committee Presidency University, Bangalore. She is chief editorial advisor IJ360MR and member editorial advisory board of IJBST, IJASRW and IFERP journals. Madam volunteers as advisor, Akshaya Patra Foundation, Bangalore, mentor, Ashoka Innovators for the Public, technical advisor, Grassroots Research and Advocacy Movement, Mysore, advisor, Bangalore Women Forum, member, advisory panel, Center for Health and Development, Mangalore, speaker, HER Initiatives, Maharashtra, member of advisory board for World Congress on Women 2019, and member YWCA. A prolific writer, blogger, and speaker, she has served as Secretary, Toastmasters International, IIMB Orators. She has an active social media presence in LinkedIn, YouTube, academia.edu, and ssrn.com. Widely traveled in North America, Europe, and Asia, Madam is comfortable living and working in multicultural milieu. She relaxes to music and enjoys the company of her husband and 2 children. We are really greatly honored to have such a great personality with us, Madam. I'm very happy to have you here and welcome you here. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The session is on your hand, ma'am.
Thank you for that very kind introduction, Dr. Lata. Thank you, Dr. Jagannath, Dr. Ramji, and other members of the Nature Club of Rajapalayam College. Good morning to all of you students, and it is my pleasure and privilege to be with all of you this morning. I express my appreciation to the organizers for their effort on such a vitally important issue. Please start the share screen, please. Share the screen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll do it, ma'am.
So
The screen is visible, ma'am?
yes, I can see it. I hope all of you can see it too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Today, I thought it best that I speak on what I consider a critically important component in environment management, which is our personal responsibility as citizens. So, I will speak on simple, actionable sustainability for the ordinary Indian, for you and for me. Next slide, please. Discussions around green transformations on how to make economies and societies sustainable are at the forefront of global, national, and local political agendas. I would like to begin with a peek at global sustainability strategies that are making the news today. In Sweden, public-private collaboration has resulted in the IT system Cato. I think that is in the next slide. I think you should go to the next slide. Yes, IT system Cato that makes use of advanced algorithms to operate railway traffic as energy efficiently as possible. Go back to the previous slide. Here is a picture of vertical farming and urban orchards. Current estimates suggest that by 2050, the world will be inhabited by 9 billion people, 80% of whom will live in cities. To some extent, urban farming will have to happen. But if done smartly, it could revolutionize the way we view food production and create a local food movement for the urbanite. Mixed-use skyscrapers are the perfect example of a smart city concept, putting those tall glass buildings to good use as greenhouses. But at ground level too, mixed-use parks and urban orchards could begin to provide food to the masses. Do you think it couldn't happen? It already did. During World War II, the Dig for Victory campaign saw formal gardens and parks turned into allotments, producing millions of tons of food and effectively defeating German blockades. Next slide, please. Next. Next. Yes. There are also initiatives happening closer home. More than 1 million Bangladeshis could be displaced by rising sea levels by 2050. One consequence is that children cannot attend school for long periods of time, making it harder for them to escape poverty. By building a fleet of solar powered school boats, the Bangladeshi initiative Shidulai Swarnivar Samstha has secured year-round education in the flood-prone areas of Bangladesh. Each floating school boat collects students from different riverside villages, ultimately docking at the last destination where on-board classes begin. Solar lighting makes the schedule flexible, which provides for additional educational programs in the evening. Shidulai's floating schools model has been replicated in Nigeria, Cambodia, Philippines, Vietnam, and Zambia. Next slide, please. So, what do these pictures tell us? All over the world, change is happening. From fossil fuel to renewable energy and from throwaway to circular economy. It is no surprise then that sustainability is the stuff of conferences and webinars. We can declaim about sustainability from a podium and go back home satisfied that we have done a job well. But if you are having tea during your break and I come to you and say, let us talk about sustainability, what will you do? You will discreetly move away, or at least you will mentally switch off with a muttered, kya fas gaye yaar? Oh God, I got caught here. This is exactly the problem. What does sustainability mean to you? To me, this is a question that no one ever bothers to answer. We live most of our life blissfully unaware and sheltered from the environmental crisis that our planet is facing. Even if we do learn something about it, the problem seems so complex and overwhelming that we give up before we start. Unless and until in one life-changing moment, the enormous importance of it all hits us suddenly. For me, this life-changing moment came when I sat, just like you are sitting now, as part of a small select audience and listened to Jeffrey Sachs, the economist turned idealist and director of the Earth Institute at Columbia University. Jeffrey spoke beautifully, convincingly. He demonstrated without doubt how great is the crisis facing the earth. But I was not completely convinced. And so I dared to ask Jeffrey Sachs, why should this be important for me? I am struggling with my daily life, my daily problems. Why should I care? And anyway, what can I, a small lone individual, what can I do? Why should I be my brother's keeper? The measure of a great man's greatness is how he addresses the little man or the little woman in this case. Jeffrey Sachs's greatness came through in that instant. He embraced, yes, that is the right word. He embraced my question. He acknowledged the essential moral nature of sustainability, the responsibility that it places on each of us. And then he laughed that while he could give macro level speeches, he was rather less enthusiastic about recycling in his own home. So, next slide, please. That is the keynote I am going to address today. What is my role? Your role? The role of each of us in sustainability. What are the things that we can do and should do? We Indians bemoan our collective lack of civic sense while simultaneously pardoning our own. This leads to a pervasive hypocrisy in our public discourse, not only on this issue of nature and sustainability and environment, but on all larger societal issues. I hope that at the end of the next 10 or 15 minutes, sustainability becomes for all of us a subject of our actionable present, not just a doomsday prospect of a common gloomy future. So, what to do? First, stop. Breathe. Relax. Don't panic. The pralayam, the disaster may be imminent, but this is a matter for rational action, not fear. Real change and beneficial change take some time. Second, educate yourself. Read everything you can. Watch documentaries. Enroll in more courses at college or online like Coursera. A lot of stuff goes on in the name of climate science. You will never go wrong if you diligently question the world around you and educate yourself. Information today is available in plenty. The trick is to access and internalize that which is simple, real, and actionable. Third, do. There are so many simple things that one can do without being overawed by labels. Recycling, for instance. It is ironic, laughable really, that we frugal Indians have to learn about recycling from the opulently wasteful Americans. My grandmother used to make razais from her old used saris. She could teach us all a thing or two about recycling. So many of us cousins and brothers and sisters grew up wrapped in the warmth of her love, as also in her red bandhani covered padded razai quilts. I am sure that we can't all go back to quilting. But we also cannot rely on Western solutions because it is either unsuitable to our lifestyle or redundant simply because we are already a careful people. What is the point if we are cautioned against buying a third car when we don't even own one? So it is left to us Indians to evolve our own methods customized to our context. And there are so many things that we can do. In a buffet or a wedding meal, just help yourself to what you will eat instead of heaping your plate and wasting the rest. Switch off appliances, lights when not in use. Take along a reusable bag for your grocery shopping instead of asking for one more plastic or even paper bag. Use buckets and mugs instead of allowing the rivers to flow into your drains from your bathrooms. Grow a small garden. Reduce your garbage. Segregate it. And above all, don't pile it in your neighbor's empty backyard. I am sure each of you will be able to come up with many things that we can do. When I speak of action, there are certain caveats I would like to make. Be realistic. Start with yourself. Assess where you are and how you can change. Many sustainability converts become over enthusiastic. They try to change those around them, but become frustrated and stop when others don't come along. In fact, a good way to go is to first formulate exactly how you want others to behave and then behave that way yourself. The first steps are local. Look at your usage and make smart changes. If you lived in Rome or Montreal, I would suggest that you walk to work. But here it is not really feasible most of the time. So start with doable changes, then work your way to the bigger ones. Or you can segment your efforts into personal actions, local actions, and national actions, and steadily augment your effort. As you know more, you will do more, and then you can expand and intensify your effort. You can invest in a cleaner car or a greener residence. There is really no end to the things that you can do and will do when you get interested. Finally, there will come a time when you will become a messenger. At that time, tell a compelling story, make it personal, and relate it directly to the individual so that your audience will care. I think part of our problem is that we still use the old approaches of the traditional environmental movement, using negative reinforcement, lobbying vague threats, focusing on all that stands to be lost. If it is going to survive, the sustainability movement needs to do just the opposite. Paint a picture of how good things could be. Talk about all the great things we will achieve, not all the bad things we should avoid, and inspire people to change instead of trying to scare them. Last slide, please. At the end of today, I am sure you will go back wiser, more knowledgeable, perhaps more fearful. There are different frameworks in environment management: the crisis framework, controversy framework, social responsibility framework, morality framework, political framework. I have no doubt we will be enriched by all the literature. I have only this to add: sustainability is not someone else's problem. It is mine, it is yours, it is all of ours. But you don't need me to say this. You know it already. Gandhiji said it a long time ago. The earth provides enough to satisfy every man's need, but not every man's greed. The Mahatma, as usual, has summed it better than any of us could do. With these closing words, I wish you and the Nature Club all success in your sustainability efforts. Thank you all very much. Jai Hind.
Ma'am, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, some participants have raised some questions, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
So, the first question is from our librarian, Madam R. Lada, ma'am. The question is, how does she balance such a strong churcher with both home and office?
I get asked this every time. I okay, I'll give you a long answer. When I began my career, my shift from my home state to Karnataka and my marriage at almost the same time, right? So I was starting a family and a career in a new place when I was in my early 20s. When I started, I used to compartmentalize my life a lot. This time for office, this time for work, this time for relaxation and stuff like that. But the very nature of my work is such that you can't predict and structure your life very much. So gradually, as I grew and matured, I began to go with the flow. So I just meet things as they come. If today, right now, I'm talking to you, so this takes priority. The next moment, I may be cooking, and that will take priority. When I'm doing something, I focus 100% on what I'm doing. So it is not so much very structured life, but it is a more peaceful flow. Taking things as they come, attending to it. I don't procrastinate. If someone needs my help, I give it immediately. I don't make people come to see me again and again, even in my work. Files will just come to my table, get cleared. So I attend to things as they come, give it my full concentration and focus, and then I go with the flow. So that's the way I'm managing life right now, and I love what I do, both my work and my academic work. I have, in fact, a dual career, so to say, or a three-pronged career, because I have my full-time job, which is my bread and butter with the IAS, but I also moonlight as an academic. I do research and a lot of speaking, and I also work as a volunteer. So I basically juggle three things, and I think it's perfectly possible. But you should love what you do and believe in what you do. A long answer to Dr. Lata's question. I hope that's okay.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, another question from my side, ma'am. Individually, I am asking. Ma'am, on what way we can do a perfect sustainability, ma'am?
You can't.
Can't. Yes, ma'am.
No. You can do the best that you can do. You can't reach some objective reality called perfect sustainability, but you can do the best which you can do. And see, the thing is, in certain things we don't, as I pointed out in my speech, we are not a wasteful people in India in general, because both because of our ethical and cultural consciousness, and because we are not a rich nation, we don't waste things. We keep on using. A sari then becomes a curtain, and then the curtain becomes a mopping cloth, and then to the last rags we will use things. So there are some things which it is part of our own ethos, so which we can do. But we are not a tidy people. We are not a very clean people. So there are also things that we can we throw things into the river. So many of our rivers are clogged. You know that. I recently lost my father, and we do the last rites on the banks of the Kaveri. That is the custom in Karnataka. And so I had gone to the river bank to perform his Shraddha ceremonies. And so people doing it faith, that is perfectly acceptable. But post the pujas, people throwing all the things into the river and the river clogging up, not acceptable. So there are certain things in our own behavior which we should change. We are rather careless about. We are very good in speak conceptually, but in practice, our public and civic sense is rather poor compared to other nations which I have seen. So that is somewhere where we can do. We should do the best that we can do, because we, on top of our poverty and our developing status, if we are going to meet a sustainability crisis, it will become very difficult for India to manage. So the responsibility is we should take it upon each of us, and it should be inculcated from childhood onwards. So that is something which we should do the best with which we can do, and that will itself mean a lot. Just imagine our whole population being socially conscious, socially responsible, and environmentally responsible makes a huge difference.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Shall we have a formal vote of thanks now, ma'am?
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Now I welcome Dr. D. Manjula ma'am, Assistant Professor of Commerce, to give a vote of thanks.
Good morning to one and all present here. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I, on behalf of Nature Club Rajapalayam Rajus College and my own behalf, I extend a very hearty thanks to the resource person Dr. Kalpana Gopalan IAS for gracing this occasion and sharing her knowledge with us today. Simple sustainability for you and me. Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure the precious knowledge you gave us, it will definitely help us in future. You really motivate us to gain more and more knowledge and work hard in our respective fields. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge on what is needed now, what we can do, really inspiring us. We have got a lot of information. We have no words to offer gratitude for your valuable presence today. Heartfelt thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Ramji sir, for your
Thank
great
you, ma'am.
effort.
Thank you.
We always wondering your job. Big thanks to audience. Without your support, nothing is possible. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
so
ma'am.
much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I take leave. I look forward to visiting you, and the roof behind Dr. Manjula is very attractive. So I think that's also an example of sustainability. The clay tiles.
Sure.
Thank you so much, and looking
Thank you, ma'am.
forward
Thank you
to
so
seeing you
much.
in person.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.